Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show, and it's going down, man. We're talking painful experiences with Marcia E. Smith, turning your pain into fuel to do great things yourself, but also to help others. Man, this is an amazing woman. I can't wait for you guys to meet her. We're going all the way in on pain, overcoming trauma, and how to leverage those things into greatness. So that's what today's show is all about. You do not want to miss this. We've all experienced some sort of pain, trauma in our lives, and how you look at that trauma, that pain, what you do with that trauma, that pain will determine what that trauma and pain will do to you or for you. So do me a huge favor, man. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, Ultimate Hustlers, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from monetizemylifeacademy.com, the premier digital marketing mastermind for entrepreneurs of the 21st century. Listen, if you're trying to figure out how to grow your business using the internet, Facebook, social media, YouTube, email marketing, sales funnels, all of those various modalities, then there's one place you can get the tools, the resources, and the training to make all of those things work for you in your business, and that is monetizemylifeacademy.com. And guess what? You can test drive the entire system, ladies and gentlemen, for $1. Go to monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you're a business owner and you don't have a strong enough online presence, then that's how you build one. monetizemylifeacademy.com. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand. Today we're talking painful experience. What do you do with the pain and the trauma? If you look at that pain and trauma differently, that is what determines what that pain will do to you and for you, ladies and gentlemen. And we got a very special guest who's going to break all of that stuff down for us today. I'm super excited to bring her on. But before I do, I got a couple of announcements that I want to go over. Man, listen, if you are in the St. Louis market and you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're a medium-sized company, you're trying to figure some things out, I'm excited to announce a brand new partnership with Nancy Jordan over at Biz by Faith. It's about to go down, man. We're about to put St. Louis on the map. And if you're a local business in the St. Louis market, then I'm going to tell you right now, you might want to go ahead and check out thorntonlinemarketing.com and see if you can get in where you fit in, because everybody ain't gonna make it, right? Everybody ain't gonna be able to hire this genius after a while. What me and Nancy have coming together is going to be amazing. So I'm excited about that. Also, we're adding more and more resources to the Financially Lit Fathers community. If you are a father and you're trying to increase your financial IQ, you're trying to become more financially literate, then that's the group that you need to be in. We just topped over 600 members. Super excited. That group is just a couple months old, and we got three main focuses in that group. We want to help men make money more efficiently. We want to help them manage it more effectively, and we want to help them multiply it more aggressively. If it sounds like you need to get those three things in your life, then you, my friend, need to hop over to facebook.com/groups/financially lit fathers. And this is a men's group, lady, sorry. It's for the brothers. And the reason that is because men tend to allow their egos to get in the way of their healing when a woman is present. So we try to keep the women out for now so that we can get down to the business of getting to the root cause of some of our challenges that we have around money, prosperity, and success. Also, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, the 21-day Solange program price is increasing. You can join the beta test group for $500 for this weekend. If you want to write and publish and launch your own wildly successful book within little as 21 days, then you want to book a call. workwithcortez.com/publish. Otherwise, you're going to miss the initial beta test group, and it's going to go up in price. So if you want that service, you want to connect with us in that way, then you want to check out workwithcortez.com/publish. Now, let's get on with the business of addressing the pain and trauma in our life and transforming it into fuel that we could use for our own success. And I have a great person online to talk about that. Not only has she gone through some pain and trauma in her own life, she's learned how to leverage that into fuel to become one of the most successful coaches and personal development influencers of our generation. So let me introduce to some and present to others, Mrs. Marcia E. Smith. Good morning. How are you, Marcia?
I am doing absolutely amazing. How are you, Cortez?
I am doing well myself. Ecstatic to have you on, because this is one of those things that we all deal with. And if we don't have the right tools in our toolbox, we could allow these things to literally cause us to ball up in a corner somewhere and die. And that's not the best way to deal with your pain and your trauma. So we're going to get all the way into that today. But before we do, we love to start the show with a quote of the day. So the way it works is I'm going to give one of my favorite quotes. If you have a favorite quote, then you can give yours. And if not, you can just chime in on mine, and then I will chime in on yours as well. But today's quote is from Marcus Elevation Taylor. Stop waiting for the storm to pass and start asking, what can I get accomplished in the rain? Man, listen. I ain't gonna elaborate just now. So, Marcia, do you have a favorite quote that you like to say, or do you want to chime in on that one?
I think I want to chime in on yours. If that's okay for me to do, I think I want to chime in on yours.
Yes.
Yours. Yeah, I want to capitalize on the latter clause when you're dealing with the rain. You talked about storm, you talked about rain. And what I've learned is that rain is so significant because in order for something to grow, it has to have some moisture. It has to be dampen. It has to have something to moisturize or vaporize in order for that thing to germinate. So without rain, nothing can grow. And when I think about rain, I think immediately about abundance. Some people
Mhm.
think of it as a negative component, but I
Yeah,
see it as absolutely positive because after the rain, the
that's right.
sun will surely shine.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. And you are thinking along the same lines as I am. Nothing grows without the rain. We in our society we have decided to put make things villains and heroes, right? The sun is the hero, the rain is the villain. No, we are on a planet where duality must exist. There is a man, there is a woman, there is a sun, there is a rain. They are both equally necessary, right? And I like to say it like this: even though it is raining, the sun is
Hmm.
still shining, right?
That's
There's just
good.
clouds between the sun and the rain. The sun is still shining, but
Right?
the rain, there's just something between you and the sun. And a lot of these storms that we have in our lives, Marcia, a lot of times people will not admit that they brought them on themselves. So we're going to get all the way into that, but I got to give some love to our sponsor. So that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the good folks down at Patty Creek Farm. Take a listen.
Yo, what's up, good people? It's your man, H. Cortez Hustle. Listen, when you want to get away from all the hustle and bustle of your life, you want to unplug, you need a place to unwind and chill, I want to tell you all about Patty Creek's Farm. Man, it was amazing getaway for my wife and I. We just came down. It's about 2 hours southwest of Missouri, of St. Louis, and we just had a blast. There's plenty for you to do around the farm, or if you want to do nothing at all, I want you to listen to this. Just peace and quiet, right? Man, this is an amazing place. The grounds are beautiful, well kept. Miss Patty and Mr. Bob are some amazing human beings, and they're going to make sure that you have a very good time. So go check them out at Patty Creek's Farm. You will not be disappointed. And for those of you who are grinding all the time, remember, you need time for self-care. And what better way to do that than to unplug? Come get you a little bit of peace and quiet, get you a little bit of peace of mind, relax, chill. One of the coolest bed and breakfasts we've ever been to, Patty Creek's Farm. Check it out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. That is my special guest, Marcia E. Smith, life coach, pain, trauma, healer extraordinaire. And we're going to get into exactly that, Marcia. But before we do, tell everybody, who the heck are you?
Good morning, everybody. And Cortez, thank you again for having me on the show. Again, my name is Marcia Smith, and I am the founder of Marcia Smith Ministries, Helping Hurting Hearts Heal, and the owner of MS Coaching and Consulting Agency.
Love it, love it, love it. So what happened to Marcia E. Smith that made you take a deeper look at the positive benefits of pain and trauma?
Well, Cortez, I am 51 years old, and the majority of my life was basically, to me, a bundle of pain. You know, I grew up
Mm-hmm.
without a father.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just it was like life was like a domino effect for me. I had an amazing mother who was an educator, but
Mm-hmm.
never knew my father, never met my father until I was like 25 years old. And so spiraling down into that, it created some adolescence or preteen behaviors that I did not understand because I was looking for my father. And so in
Mm-hmm.
school, my original personality was very introverted, but over the course of the years, my identity, I was looking for identity. And so my personality kind of shifted into this extremely extroverted kid who was the class clown who wanted the attention, but I was really looking for my father. I was looking for my dad. And in the process of that, it grew into very abusive relationships with men. And it was just a
Mm-hmm.
domino effect in my life. It just spiraled and it spiraled and it spiraled until one day I realized, hey, you've been in so much pain and trauma that you've become addicted to pain. And so my story for years was about what I had gone through. It was consistently repeating the same story over and over and over again until I realized you have to change this narrative. I can't even tell the whole story, but I realized mentally that I had to take authority and control of my life and change my narrative. You know, I've been a wife for 26 years, but even in that, I realized that I was a hero to so many other people, but I didn't have the ability to rescue myself. I had become an enabler because I was trying to save everyone else but me. And so I was saving everybody else, but I was losing me.
Yeah. It's
And
funny.
then, go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a guy, Dr. Jerry Bogle, talk to me about how women tend to be in an identity, a perpetual identity crisis, because they have their identities wrapped up in everybody else, right? But I want you to circle back to the addiction to pain deal, because I remember when I was in high school, there was a couple. Now, we are kids, like literally 15, 16, 17 years old. And I remember there was a couple who had a turbulent relationship. And I remember the young lady saying that it's only when he puts his hands on me do I know he loves me, right? And that has stuck with me. But I guess if you have experienced pain and hurt, then you get addicted to that, and it kind of becomes some sort of some sort of, I don't know what you call it, but you need it, you hunger for it. And to some degree, he would say, well, she does these things to make me do this to her, because I mean, it was just crazy. So are those the types of experiences and things that you were mentioning when you said you kind of were going through these same cycles over and over?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And the revelation that came to me was that I was attracting what was on the inside of me. It had nothing to do with my external conditions. It had everything to do with the traumatized pain that was lodged in me. And so I became an attraction magnet for what was in me. And so my first step was to identify, hey, this is not an external issue. This is an internal issue that has stayed or lodged in your soul for many, many years. And you believe it. It's your belief system now that pain is love. And it's totally the opposite.
Yeah. And so walk me through the transition, married 26 years, and I'm assuming that your husband is not that guy, right? Was there any difficulty in allowing yourself to be loved a different way? Because I remember, I know of so many people, and women, especially when they're young, they tend to run from a guy who is trying to stay on the up and narrow, the straight and narrow, and not aggressive and trying to love. But then they are running to guys who are just vicious and that kind of thing. So when you decided on this relationship, this long-standing relationship now that you are in, what was that like, allowing someone who wasn't that to love you?
Okay. If I can be totally transparent, Cortez, while we're here, because that's who I am. Initially, he was that guy.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Been married for 26 years because I hadn't done the internal cleansing and the soul searching. So I was continuously attracting that same guy. And so 26 years in the game, right? And so initially, he was that guy. Initially, later on in our relationship, to substances. He was a substance abuser. So I attracted physical abuse. Well, not so much with hands on, but the emotional abuse in my mind, because I'll tell most women, most men that the greatest abuse that you can encounter is not verbal or physical. It's mental, because it's like you're getting beaten in your head and nobody knows the bruises that are there. So initially I became an enabler for my husband.
Wow.
I became that saving person for him because I'll say again, the inside transformation had not taken place.
Gotcha.
And one day with that guy, I made a decision within myself that I'm going to choose me first. I'm going to choose me first. And that happened after I had a stroke, Cortez. I had a stroke. I had a stroke, and it was because I was just stressed out. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed out, and I had to make a decision. Either you're going to live or you're going to die. And that means that it starts with you taking responsibility for how you have taught other people to treat you. They are not responsible for what you have allowed them to do, but you have to take responsibility and accountability for the behaviors that you have taught other people, and you have trained them how to treat you. So we had a very, 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 very lengthy, long conversation and counseling. But here's the thing. My husband came from a father deficient home because his father died when he was 7 years old, right? So he had the same pain that I had. So you had two broken people trying to come in and make a profitable or a covenant marriage, but both of us were in pain. We brought pain to the table. But I will say this, my change was absolutely God. I will not deviate from that. My change was absolutely God, my faith in him, and the decision to hear his voice and to obey. And it took some hard work, Cortez. It took some hard work for me to look at myself, because a lot of the things I blamed on other people for years until I realized, listen, some of this is power of choice. But it's time to do some transformation. And if I can just leave this before you speak, Romans 12:1-2 changed my life. And it says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I had to totally reprogram my belief system from self-limiting to beliefs to no limits. No limits, because for years it was self-limits, and the only belief system that we really have, Cortez, is the ones that we actually believe in, or the ones that we actually believe in.
We are going to dive all the way into that, because that responsibility and accountability piece, that teaching people how to treat you piece is that deal. That is where it all starts. But it is time for 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Marcia, that is where we play a short 1 minute motivational video. And I just asked you to give me a couple takeaways, and I'm going to give a couple takeaways as well. I'm so big on like the personal growth and self-development. And you talked about Romans 12:1-2, be ye transformed, renewing of your mind. So people don't get that personal growth and self-development is always happening. Everything you put into your mind and your body and your spirit is contributing to that growth. The question is, are you growing in the right direction? So you got to be intentional about that. So that's why I incorporate this in every one of my episodes. So let's get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Marcia E. Smith edition. Check it out.
The first thing you got to realize is that you got to love yourself. It's about self-love. Start understanding that if you're going to do something with your life, you got to fall in love with yourself again.
The moment you start talking about self-love, you start seeing, you turn that lens inward, and you start coming in contact with your personal emotional history, right? You start, if I really love myself, how can I live a better life?
It is time to be more selfish, where it's all about you and taking care of you.
There are key components and key ingredients in the recipe of a student mentality. Number one, you need to be disciplined. The future is very expensive, and only those who are carriers of discipline can inherit the future. I need you to stay motivated. I don't care if you have to listen to me 1,000 times. I need you to stay motivated. And I need that motivation to mature into discipline. I need you to be self-aware. So I need you to remember that you are always learning. In life, you are always learning. And I need you to believe in yourself. I need you to see yourself capable, lovable, and unconditionally worthy of your future.
Hoo-wee. I don't know about you, Marcia, but that speaks to me, man. That speaks to me. So one of the reasons I love this is because we all just listen to the same clip. But because of where we are in our lives, where we've been, we all heard something different. So what did you hear?
Oh, it is absolutely okay to be selfish in all caps. It is absolutely resonatingly okay to be selfish.
Yeah, yeah. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I wrote that down as well because being selfish has got a bad rap, right? We got it all twisted. It's like, no, until I can be selfish and learn to identify who I am and what I want, I can't expect anybody else to figure that out for me. And once I come to that knowledge and that conclusion, then I can properly, as you say, train people how to treat me. I can properly assess whether or not me and you are walking in the same direction because I have already decided on the direction that I'm going in, right? Self-love. You got to fall in love with yourself. I remember hearing, Marcia, a clip very similar to this where Lisa Nichols was talking about her battle with depression. And she said what helped her overcome it after the doctor was trying to put her on meds. She said, please, just let me go back and try to fix this. If I can't fix it in 30 days, then I'll take all the meds you give me. And she went back to her home and she did 3 things. She said every day she had to tell herself that she loves herself, right? But then she also she said, I had to use the power of I am. I had to declare all that I am. She said, I had to use the power of forgiveness, meaning I had to tell myself every day that I forgive you for X. And then she said, I had to declare what I was committed to. And I started doing that every day. And it's like, there's a transformation that happens when you focus on declaring those things and reminding yourself of how great you are. Because a lot of times people don't cheer for you. If you don't have the right people in your corner, you might not have anybody else to cheer for you. But you got to learn how to, like David said, sometimes I got to encourage myself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Marcia E. Smith edition, brought to you by the 21 Days to Publish. That is our self-publishing program. If you ever wanted to write your own book and publish and launch and build a system around it so that you can increase your authority, then you need to, my friends, check out the Instant Authority Blueprint, 21 Days to Launch, how to write, publish, and market your wildly successful book in 21 days or less, and build the systems around it. Even if you can't write, even if you failed high school English like me, we got a system in place that will walk you through this entire process so that you can increase your authority, bring your message to the world, and then we'll show you how to build a complete system around your project that increases your impact, increases your reach, and ultimately increases your bottom line. Go to workwithcortez.com/publish. All right, Marcia, we got off to a great start with the trauma, the things that you experienced in your life, and coming to a realization that me and my man are broken, right? And we got to figure out how to fix this thing. It started with a long, hard, I'm sure difficult conversation that, hey, this ain't gonna fly no more for me. I don't know about you, Joker, but this is what I'm gonna do. Apparently, he said, all right, I'm gonna walk this walk with you. What were some of the first few steps?
Well, my first step was, we're gonna have to have some long conversations, or I'm out.
Yeah.
Or I'm out. Now, that is not the decision that I want every person to make, especially if you're in a marriage, because, you know, it's considered covenant. But I will never, ever tell a woman or a man to stay in an abusive relationship, ever. But we started out having a conversation, He was in agreement, and we initially started in counseling, much prayer, but we both wanted the change.
Yeah.
The only person that you have the power to change is yourself. But everybody has to be willing to do the work. And so what we did, Cortez, is we started with an assessment. We started to assess our personal lives before we got together. And then we did an assessment of our relationship, where we were, just where we were stuck. And we just started to write those things down, and we began to target and identify them one point at a time, because you can't deal with all of it all at once. So you have to address it. You can't pretend that there's not pain there, or pretend that everything is okay, because that's what we did for so long. In our personal lives, we were drowning. We were merely surviving. But professionally, when we walked out the doors, we looked like the perfect couple. We looked like we had the perfect life, the perfect image on our jobs. We looked great. We were thriving professionally, but we were merely surviving personally. My kids experienced it. So we were living a false image. And so we had to lay down that idol of image to say, hey, if we're going to make it, we're going to have to deal with some real hard truths and begin to do the hard work to resolve this. And I'm glad to say that my husband is now a very, very successful man. He was before, because he was a military guy, 27 years, but he is a minister of the gospel. He is saving lives. He is talking to men in marriages who were doing the same thing that he was doing. So we allowed our faith and the work that we did to transform our mentalities, our mindset barriers into power, not just to help us, but to help other people, young boys, young girls, young adults, and even married couples, even people in our professional expertise are coming to us because they see that we are real and that we are authentic. There's no cover up anymore. There's nothing that we have that's covering us up to make us look like there was something that we're not, because there are nights that I cried myself to sleep. There are nights that I took sleeping pills just to go to bed, Cortez, just to rest my mind. But when we chose to make that transformation, it not only changed the trajectory of our lives, but it changed our children, because it's a lie to pretend to be one thing in public, but you're not that at home.
Yeah, I love that. So be willing, right? That it starts there. You both were willing to do the work. And I think sometimes it just takes one person, right? And sometimes in a relationship, the other person is crying out. They just don't want to be the initiator. So it's like, okay, she initiated it, but you know what? I've been thinking about this for a while. I need to make some changes. I'm glad that, it came that way, but both people have to be willing to do the work. And now people always ask me, because we are 20 years married, my wife and I, 24 plus together. And they always ask, how, what is, I said, it started with the fact that both of us wanted to be married in the first place, right? That's where it started. Both of us were willing to make a commitment to this institution called marriage first. I wanted to be married. She wanted to be married. Okay, that started. Now I wanted to be married to her, and she wanted to be married to me, and it grew from there. So you got to both be willing. But I love that you said you had to do the assessment, right? You had to come to the realization of exactly where you are. First thing a GPS wants to know before it maps a route for you to get to your successful destination, where you at right now. And a lot of people are lying about where they are right now. That's why every plan they try to implement won't work, because you got to be truthful with where you are. So you took the assessment and you guys started looking at point by point. This is where we are. And I love that you said y'all did it individually as well. You go back through your 25, 27, however old you guys were at the time, and you look at everything that took place in your life. I'm going to go back through my 25, 27 years. I'm going to look at everything that happened in my life. And then we're going to look at where our lives intersected. What started happening in our lives from that point, as we were together, and let's start figuring out how all of this stuff played a part in us getting to where we are. So after the assessment, looking at those points, what was the most difficult thing that you saw on your list that you had to address yourself? And then what was the most difficult thing that your husband had to address on his list?
I think the most difficult thing for me to address was that some of the biggest problems was me.
Always hard. Always
That
hard
was, yeah, that
when,
was a hard one.
yeah, always hard when everything points back to you, right? You've been trying to point at, hey, no, because that happened to me, and that's why this is happening. And, oh, well, I behaved that way because this happened. No, when you boil it all down, right, you get to the essence of the issue. What about for your husband? What was one of his big things that you saw him struggling to address, and you needed him to address for y'all to move forward?
Pride.
Sounds like a man. Sounds like a man.
Yeah, pride. That was his big one.
Yeah. And then being a military guy, being an alpha male, sounds like that's what he is, and trying to figure that, man. But glad you guys were both willing to do the work. And now you guys have built this solid foundation. And you've grown together 27 plus years. And now you guys are in the space where you're using the protocols and the strategies that you guys implemented in your own lives to help other people. What was it like when the first couple or the first individual came to you and said, I don't know what you guys got going on, but I want some of it? Right. What was that like for you guys, and how did your coaching practice begin from there?
Cortez, it was very rewarding because we knew that we had done the work, and we knew that we were qualified at that point, but also being very realistic and transparent that we weren't perfect. We're still growing together. We're still learning each other. But it was very exciting to see another couple come that believe in you, because they see the manifestations of the growth and the development in you as a couple. And even young women that would come to me now, that I have clients that are young women that would come to me and just cry. But it's like an attraction magnet. Like they would just come, and I knew they were assigned to me. I knew they were assigned to me. And so to just answer the question, it was very, very, very rewarding and very exciting to me, as well as himself, to know that we had gone through that storm. Not so much for ourselves, but for the people that were going to come into our lives, that we would be a ray or an abundance amount of rain into their relationships, helping them to understand that that storm had purpose. Let's don't diminish the storm. Let's go back and evaluate the storm and make sure we understand that it's not some storms are created storms. Some of the storms were created. We create ourselves, but to be able to sit and know that people believe in you and that we believe in ourselves and that the outcome is ultimate transformation. We're just not wasting time, but we're here to do a work. And once the work is finished, there's going to be manifestation and transformation. And then to get the results has been amazing, Cortez. It has been absolutely amazing.
Let's talk about the kiddos, right? Because they watched this transformation happen. Right? And what was it like for them? Because sometimes when your parents, I think back to when my mom really got serious about the Lord in her life, right? And started to make changes in the house, right? It was difficult at for the kids, because we was used to doing certain things, and now all of a sudden, no, we can't do that anymore. So I would imagine that your children saw you guys growing and evolving, which means by default they had to do some growing and evolving and transforming. So what was the experience like for them? What was the kind of feedback that you guys got from the kids watching all of this unfold?
Well, initially my three boys were very angry.
Mm-hmm.
I had one daughter that took on the same characteristics as myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had another one that just in her mind was like, I'm not going. I, I'm not going to be this person. So what we did, Cortez, is we had a meaningful conversation with our children first.
Mm-hmm.
And we allowed them to share their voice about how they felt about so many different things because because we were walking in religion, it wasn't about them having their voice. It was about we're the parents and you do what we tell you to do
Mm-hmm.
and you
Mm-hmm.
don't talk back or you don't say different things, but we had stripped them of their voice of sharing how they really felt. And
Yeah.
so in that transformational process, my boys experienced anger. I had one that really just kind of patterned after his dad. And I'll use this story. One day he had done something here at home and I really got onto him about it. And he raised his voice at me. And
Mm-hmm.
as a mom, I got very livid because I'm like, no child that I've had is going to talk back to me. His
Mm-hmm.
response to me was, why are you getting on to me? He says, Dad does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Devastated me. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to give our children time to evolve
Yeah.
and to transform because we were transforming, but what the children had seen or experienced, it was traumatizing to them.
Mm-hmm.
No physical abuse, but my sons heard my husband, beforehand raise his voice at me. My daughters saw me take a lot of things that I shouldn't have ever taken. And so they had learned behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were internalized. I had a son that didn't say anything. He just
Mm-hmm.
absorbed it. I had
Yeah.
one that was very verbal. I had a
Mm-hmm.
daughter that she took on my characteristics, and then I had another one that said, "No, I'll never go through this." And so
Mm-hmm.
we had to totally evolve in our home and
Yeah.
hear their voices, and it was painful to
Yeah.
hear the pain that we had caused our own children, and we were
Mm-hmm.
like these icons in the community, but
Yeah.
our children were so hurt. But we're so thankful that we've
Mm-hmm.
allowed them to be who they are and
Good.
share their voice because their transformation has taken place. But I'll have to tell parents and those of you that are raising children singly, um, their voice matters because they're
Yeah.
going to speak at some point in time. They may not speak at home as a child, but if they get out on their own or in life, they're going to start speaking. So give your children a voice, even when it hurts you. Allow them to share their voice and to embrace what they need from you at that time because it's not about you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's
I
about
think
all of us. Go
I
ahead.
think sometimes we forget that they are human, right?
Hmm.
And it's funny. I watched some of. I'm a big fan of the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett and her mother and her daughter, and
Hmm.
they were talking about their parenting style and how they gave their children that voice very, very early on, and it
Hmm.
helped them to become very independent early. And how Jada's mom just couldn't fathom it. She old school, like, what do you mean you're asking the children what they want to do?
Yes.
No, you tell them what they
Yes.
want to do, but their feelings have to be considered,
Hmm.
because it is their life, right? And my wife kind of figured this thing out too, that I'm raising them, but they don't belong to me. I don't possess them. I don't own them. Those are God's children.
Yes.
I'm just responsible for guiding them through this thing called life.
Yes.
So you guys have done the work. You saw how it
Hmm.
impacted the children. You got them involved in
Hmm.
seeing that this work is going to benefit the entire family. And
Yes.
now that all of the pieces have fallen in place, what's next for you guys?
Oh, we are going to continue to mentor youth. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to continue to coach married couples. We're going to continue to even address and counsel some people who have gotten a divorce. And,
Mhm.
we plan to extend a little because we have some more opportunities to broaden our horizons,
Mhm.
regionally and nationally. So we're transforming and extending in different areas. And so we're doing some things regionally, and we're looking to grow even internationally as we've gained some international partners as
Yeah.
well overseas. And so when you have a global mindset,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
realize that the United States of America is just one component of the globe. And we
That's
don't
right.
have to just stay in one particular area. If he made the globe, if everything belongs to him and the fullness thereof, why not expand and do some global coaching and just
Mhm.
extend to the whole world as well as to reciprocate? We want to be reciprocal too. We want to give, but we want to receive too. So we want reciprocity and just to be able to, when we close our eyes, Cortez, to die
Mhm.
empty, not
Yeah.
full,
Yeah.
but to
That's right.
leave here empty of all of the talents, all of the gifts, all of the abilities that are placed within us, but to also teach other people how to do the same thing and to understand that they belong here. For so long, my self-esteem was so low and my identity was in such a crisis. I didn't really understand who I was or that I really belong here. Hey girl,
Mhm.
you belong here. You were
Yeah.
born with a purpose. You were
Yes.
born with a purpose and on purpose. And so now you're 51, but you can teach some 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, however many children come into your life that listen, there's no limits within you. You belong here. And that's my resonating message. Don't ever let someone tell you that you don't belong because
That's
you
right.
do.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Well, Marcia, we get to a place in the show where we do a segment called freestyle. Because I know you got bars, sis. It's time for you to drop some bars. I'm a no, no, we're not going there. But freestyle is a segment in the show that I put together because as I'm building this media empire that will one day rival Disney and Ted Turner, I don't always ask the right questions. And sometimes the conversation never evolves to where my guest wanted to. So there may be some things that we didn't get to that you want to say, or some things that you've said and you just need to reiterate those things. So I give you a freestyle moment to kind of speak to the people from what's on your heart at this particular moment. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Marcia E. Smith version. Hit them with your best verses.
Listen, did you say my best verse? My
Yes.
best verse. Listen, I want to emphatically share with you and encourage you in this moment to address and assess your pain because pain is very, very real. What you need to do is address it and gauge your pain on a level or a scale of 1 to 10. When we go to the doctor, the first thing they ask you are you in pain? Then they
Mhm.
ask you, what is your pain level from a scale of 0 to 10? So I want to encourage you to make sure that you address and assess your pain and be honest about your pain level. The other thing is that I want you to understand that you are not a victim. You are a victor, and you must assess and evaluate your thinking patterns. Think about what you're thinking about, and also know that your thinking will manifest in your space. Whatever you think, it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So whatever you're thinking is going to manifest in your external space. So I challenge you to think about what you're thinking. And if your thinking is stinking, then you need to get a different fragrance so that it can be an aroma in your space that smells good to you and other people that come into connection and collaboration with you. Hey, pain is inevitable. But the transformation of that pain is an evolution that will change your life and the lives of others forever. Hey, this is your girl, Marcia E. Smith, and transformation is my occupation. And if you want to have another conversation, get with your boy Cortez, and he'll connect you to me so that we can have a conversation, a connection, and a collaboration and see where we can take this further. Again, this is your girl, Marcia E. Smith, coming to you live from the Cortez Hustle Show.
Love it, love it, love it. That is it, man. That is it. Listen, I think a lot of times we get this, woe is me, right?
Mm.
When something happens to us. And sometimes it's not happening to us, it's happening through us, so
Yeah.
that we can be a blessing to other people. And Marcia, you have certainly been a blessing to me this morning, and those who are tuning in live, and those who will hear this on iTunes and Stitcher and all of those different podcast places. And if you haven't already shared the show, then you definitely want to take a moment to do that. Now, let's talk a little bit about your program and how you're helping women make these assessments, identify this pain, gauge it, but more importantly, how do you use it? How do you see the pain in a way that you can leverage it into fuel to help you do something greater with women?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Cortez, now what I do is I do an assessment with all of my clients. Before we
Mhm.
start any session, I do assessments because the assessment gives me the observation and the view to see what is the greatest pain at once. So, we
Mhm.
do a pain scale assessment with our clients for them to identify what hurts the most.
Mhm.
And we start there. We start there. But the ultimate thing is we start with developing and implementing clarity. And we
Mhm.
eliminate everyone else on the outside. And we just deal with you. We
Mhm.
deal with
Mhm.
you. We deal with you. We don't deal with any other external things. We start with you because you first have to show up for you.
Yeah.
You have to show up with you. It all begins with you. And so, in that process, we either do a 30-day, a 90-day, or we may do a 6-month retainer.
Mhm. Gotcha.
And we lock those clients in and we do the work. We
Yeah.
do the work. I do not take excuses. I am the excuse eliminator. I work on those mental self limiting beliefs and those mental blocks. And you have to show up and do the work for yourself. You must show up and you have to be willing to be honest and very, very truthful. And so once we get from there, we grow over those course of whatever the time span we have and we see the results. But what we also do is the clients that we take in, we teach them how to do the same thing that we're doing because it's not just about me. If I can help you to maneuver through the pain and transform it into power, why wouldn't I, as a coach, want to train you to train other people to get
Mm.
free from the same thing and you learn how to grow and scale if that's something that you want to do as a business to grow, scale, leverage, and monetize that as a coaching program as yourself. So we develop those individuals. And if they want to go on to be coaches or speakers or whatever they desire to do with that, we show them and give them the principles to go further and learn how to teach other people and monetize from it,
I
helping
love
other
it.
people across the world. But you still can leverage and monetize from your gift.
I love it. I
Nothing is
love it.
free to me.
I love it. And a lot of people don't see pain and trauma as a gift. And when you
Yes,
learn how to leverage it, and even if you don't monetize it, learning how to teach people to overcome it, it starts with your own household.
exactly.
Your kids are going to experience some pain and some trauma, and you're
Hmm.
now equipped with how to coach them through transformation as a result of that pain and not dying because of that pain. I absolutely love that
Absolutely.
model. Marcia, tell everybody how and where they can connect with you if they want to get any more information about you and your wonderful products and services.
Okay. You can visit my website at www.marciaesmith.com. Again, that's www.marciaesmith, Marcia, all one word, .com. We are also on social media platforms as well. You can find us on Facebook under Marcia Smith Ministries. You can also find me personally on Facebook under Marcia Elaine Smith with a Mrs. on the front. We are also on Instagram. My handle is Marcia E. Smith. And we are also on LinkedIn as Coach Marcia E. Smith.
Love it, love it, love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to and learning from the pain and trauma transformation specialist, Marcia E. Smith. She wants to help you heal from your hurt and learn how to transform that pain and how you see that pain into something special to bring that beauty that is within on the outside so that you can transform the world. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up today's show. Marcia, if you can stick around, it'd be awesome. Until we talk to you next time, we want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.